Let's now get into road safety, and we kick off in Kericho, where our correspondent Martin Kosgei is talking to border operators. A very good morning, Martin. What do they have to say, the border operators in Kericho this morning? Martin, if you can hear me, I do understand you're about to talk to border operators. What exactly do they have to say? I think we're having a challenge with Martin there.
A very good morning from Kericho County. This is Kericho town, of which we are going to sample some of the views from border riders here in Kericho town, giving their concern about the road safety here in Kericho. Na asante sana kwa kuungana nasi, mwenyekiti wa kwa majina unaitwa nani, alafu tuambie hali ya usalama barabarani katika kaunti ya Kericho ikoje?
Ya kwanza mimi naitwa Peter Kigen, mimi ni mwenyekiti wa boda na nashukuru Citizen kwa kuwa tunajaribu ku-highlight maneno mingi kuhusiana na barabara. Nikirudi kwa swali yako Bwana Martin, kuhusiana na hii usalama barabarani, inakuwa ni changamoto pia, hasa kama sisi watu wa boda. Tunajaribu, unajua saizi unaona kama barabara zetu, saizi ni mvua, ama ukipata pia watu wa boda, shida moja nyako naye ni kutopewa ile inaitwa kujaribu kuelimishwa kwa jumla kuhusu mambo ya boda. Unajua usalama pia inaanzia sisi, mimi, hata mwenye anaendesha anabebwa. Lakini changamoto yenye tuko naye mimi naonelea ni kutokuwa na ile seminars ama debate kuhusu mambo ya road safety. But sisi tunashukuru kama viongozi wa boda, tunashukuru pia ile ushirikiano tuko naye kati yetu na kaunti yetu ya Kericho.
Wanasema kwamba watu wa boda huwa wanavunja sheria. Wakwambia mbebe abiria moja, unapata kwale kwa pikipiki unabeba abiria wawili, alafu watu wa boda asando wanachangia katika kuvunja sheria hizi. Ni ukweli?
Hiyo ni uongo, acha nikuambie ni uongo. Kulingana na hii VAT saizi hakuna venye utabeba mtu moja, utabeba wawili. Hiyo sheria inasema kweli mtu mmoja abebwe, hiyo ndio sheria. Lakini saizi bei inasema beba wawili. Juu ukibeba mmoja utabeba na shilingi ngapi? Kama town service saizi tuliweka 50, lakini watu wanalipa 30, 40. Hiyo mafuta kwanza saizi ukiweka mafuta ya 50 inarudisha 80. Hiyo ni kusema nini? Hiyo 30 bob si baadaye itabidi sasa tunapenya na vitu ya customer.
Lakini kuna pia zale mavazi ambao mtu anafaa kuvaa kama abiria, kama helmet na reflector. Na hapa Kericho ukitazama kwamba watu wengi wa boda wanabebwa tu hivyo.
Ukweli ndio hiyo kwa upande wa customers, lakini kwa upande wa drivers, as you can see, hata wengine wenye tuko nao hapa hawavunji sheria. Wana boda ni watu wenye wavunji sheria. Wanavaa reflector na helmet. Hapa saizi ukienda stage ya James Finley hapa utaona kila mtu helmet 2 na reflector 2. Tunaweza sema kweli kwa upande wa customer, labda kuna customer hataki kuvaa helmet juu helmet tunajua miundo yenye iliundwa hiyo iliundwa helmet yenye inaikaa hivi. Mtu mwingine akiweka jasho, wamama wako na nywele. So mimi naonelea kwa labda reflector ndio tutazingatia kama sisi.
Naam.
Yes.
There's the chairman for boda. You can also get one of the view from one of the locals here. Asante sana, songea hivi tu karibu, tuambie hali ya barabarani kwa maoni yako kama jamaa wa taxi hapa Kericho ikoje?
Mimi naitwa Evans kutoka Kericho. Storia kuhusu maneno ya barabara, nasikia NTSA wanataka kurudi kwa barabarani. Mimi ningeonelea tu afadhali wakae vile walikuwa wamekaa, cause kama traffic wako kwa barabara saa hizi na tunaendelea nao vizuri, barabara iko sawa na wanaelewa story na barabara. Sasa alikuwa unaona maana yenye watu wanasema ati NTSA. Changamoto kuhusu NTSA, saa zingine unaenda unapatana nao, ukijaribu kuongea nao muelewani, ukitoroka wanakufukuza nini, vitu mingi sana endelea kutoka katika hii barabara yenye sisi tunafanya nayo.
Naam, kuna ajali mingi ambayo tunaona zinatokea hasa barabarani. Je, ni madereva wanasababisha au kuna kitu kingine tofauti?
Saa zingine tunaenda kwa barabara vizuri, lakini unapatana kunakuwa na makosa kidogo hivi, ukijaribu kusimama kuelewana naye ni ngumu kuelewana, sasa inabidi umetoroka. Sasa saa zingine unatoroka ndio unaona, saa zingine unapataka ndio nao pia wanakufukuza na nyuma mnakimbizana. Lakini kama matrafiki wa kawaida mnaweza ongea muelewana, kama ni polisi mnaenda polisi, at least kunakuwa na maelewano kidogo.
Naam. Chairman, umesikiza vile amesema. Je, kwa maoni yako watu wa bodaboda katika kaunti ya Kericho? Ukimalizia tu.
Mimi nikijaribu kusema kumalizia ya ukweli ni ile maajali mingi inachangiwa labda na ile makosa ya human error. Unajua kama saizi unakuta saa zingine mtu ametereza, saa zingine magari pia, labda gari imekuja. Wajua sometimes labda gari sijui ni kwa nini, kuna watu wengine, sio madereva wote, but kuna madereva wengine huwa wanaona watu wa bodaboda labda sijui wafai kwa barabara, labda agonge mtu wa boda na aende, ama ukifika labda police station waambiwe unastukia mtu amevunjwa kwa hospitali, mtu wa boda na customer. But at the end of the day unapata gari inafika tu pale na inatoka saa hiyo. But sisi kama watu wa bodaboda bado unakuta tuna changamoto juu pale tunashughulikia mtu, turudi tena tushughulikie pikipiki huku, na unajua sasa itafika kotini juu ni mambo ya insurance. So tunaonelea sisi kama Wakenya tuanze tutii sheria za traffic, tuanze tujiheshimu kwa barabara, na pia kwa viongozi wetu watusaidie kutuletea road safety campaign kwa every ward, ndio itusaidie. Kama saizi unaona kama mheshimiwa watchman ametusaidia hapa mambo ya road safety, anakujaga anatusaidia. Kama mambo ya county tunataka tena tusaidiwe mambo ya road safety, ndio vijana wajue pia hii road safety inasaidia nini. Unajua ukisema road safety mtu anafikiria labda unataka kuzingatia masharti ya mtu mwingine. Hii road safety inatuhusisha sisi wote, watu wa bodaboda na wa gari. So tunaomba muendelee tu kama citizen kwa highlight maneno ili tusaidiwe, lakini tunajua viongozi tuko naye na watatusaidia. Asante sana.
Those are some of the views from Kericho residents here in Kericho town. Martin Kosgei from Kericho, back to you studio.
Thank you, Martin. Martin Kosgei, our correspondent from Kericho, talking to boda riders there on issues to do with road safety. And staying on that theme, in studio now I'm joined by Nyaga George Kelvin, a founder of a community-based organization known as the Road Safety Volunteers. Good morning, karibu sana.
Morning, and thanks.
Probably just start from there. Bodas have become, if for lack of a better word, a menace. Some would even describe them as a nuisance. You go to any police station, the number of boda bikes that have been involved in accidents that have been abandoned number in the hundreds and thousands. Go to hospitals and the number of people who have fallen victim of accidents because either they were riding on a boda and they were hit by a vehicle, or they were just probably riding their bikes and got involved in an accident. Are too many. In fact, media has stopped writing about deaths caused by bodas. Do you think we got it wrong because with this advent of the motorbike as a boda?
Thanks for this opportunity. First, I appreciate what bodas do, and they have created a lot of employment. Whenever I go to my hometown, then I find also so many people whom we were schooling together, and they have bodas. So that tells if these bodas were not there, then probably these people would still be jobless.
Yes.
We appreciate that. But the biggest training problem is when it comes to training. Most of them are not trained. In some areas like probably Western Nyanza, there used to be so many bicycles before.
Yes.
And now here, bodas come, they are cheap, and everybody just learns in the streets how to ride, and they buy a boda. And when they go on the streets or on the road then, they are not conversant with traffic rules, they are not conversant with the road safety. Some of them, actually most of them, may not even understand why when you are riding, I tell them you have to have your light on, you have to have a reflector. There is a purpose for that, and that is visibility, but most of them do not understand that.
And your organization is involved even in issues of road safety sensitization of such people. You've just had one of those people saying that they need that kind of training. It's not that they are not welcoming that kind of training, but is it even there? You're involved in that. Are you able to reach all these people? Is even any other organization, are you partnering with anyone else in as far as reaching such people who really have that hunger?
From 17th November to 17th December, we'll be doing road shows in 25 counties, and Kericho actually is one of the counties, so we'll be going there. But again, this is not something that you can do in 1 or 2 days. It needs to be continuous. There are also other organizations that do this. There is the Boda Association, which has been trying to bring boda bodas together and even register them for security and safety reasons. So there are quite a number of organizations that are doing that, but most of them, again, including us, lack capacity and funding to reach all the people on the ground.
And let's now go back to your organization, the Road Safety Volunteers. It is a community-based organization. What exactly do you deal with?
We have 4 major programs. I have been running these organizations since 2011. This is now almost 8 years. 2011, 2012, we were doing a lot of pedestrian safety, especially to children on Thika Superhighway and Eastern Northern Bypass before the footbridges were done.
In as far as training or facilitating?
Facilitating in the morning and in the evening when children are going to and from school. So for the 2 years, we were assisting around 6,000 children every day. And then from there now...
As traffic marshals?
Yes. Then from there now, we've concentrated on 4 programs. One is rescue, being on the ground or mobilizing for whichever help is needed. Then we have awareness. We have advocacy, that is checking on where intervention is required by the government, and we try to raise those issues. And then we also have the issue of information sharing, where we tell people what is happening. So we've been doing a lot. Last month, I cycled from Nairobi to Mombasa with a few friends to raise awareness on road safety to long-distance drivers. So we've been doing a lot of activities.
If you may gauge your success rate, because now you said you've worked with pedestrians, and now we want to move on to the probably motorized drivers and riders. But and as far as pedestrians are concerned, because the number of pedestrian deaths probably is leading, do you think that you have had a proper impact? Can you gauge the kind of impact your organization has had?
Actually, we do road shows every year. We normally have programs in terms of quotas. And this is the third year that we'll be doing road shows, which we do towards the festive season, because that is when we have a lot of accidents. I would say that we have not been very much successful, because when it comes to issues of funding, when it comes to issues of also attitude on the ground, then there's a bit of a problem. We don't have much of funding when it comes to road safety in Kenya. So that's quite a bit of a challenge.
So how do you manage to do this without any funding? Because it is a very great undertaking. When you're talking about road shows, even 25 counties. So how, as a community-based organization, how do you work?
It has not been easy for those 8 years, but it's my passion. I cannot sleep comfortably when I know people are suffering and they need this awareness, they need rescue services. So mostly I fund the organization from my income, that is business income. And at least from last year, I have around 25% coming from individual donations and a few friends here and there. It has been quite a challenge, and we hope that even the corporates will come on board and try to also fund these initiatives, even including the government agencies, because again, when we go to the government, there is a problem. You are told that we cannot fund such initiatives because they don't involve tendering process. So it's quite a challenge.
And even the legal aspect of this, because we do understand there's the National Transport Safety Authority that is in existence already. How do you work in tandem with such an organization? Are they even welcoming to your kind of inputs as far as road safety is concerned?
We work with the government almost on a daily basis, the police, we work with the NTSA, we work with Kenha, we work with Kura, we work with county governments. So what happens is that, like when it comes to advocacy, where interventions are required, then we have to involve these agencies. And some of the things that we do, probably there are issues of discipline on the road, circles, some vehicles from different circles are misbehaving. Then we involve NTSA and they're able to intervene. Where there are accidents, we work with the police because they have to come to the scene, and other stakeholders. Okay.
Yes. And we'll talk about the area of PSVs, because we're looking at a very nasty accident that took place on Sunday, and at least 12 people died. But just before that, let's link up with another reporter, Martin Monene in Nyeri. He's talking to Matatu operators. Do we have Martin? Yes, a very good morning, Martin. You're talking to Matatu operators in Nyeri. What do they have to say today?
All right, a very good morning to you, Fred. in Nairobi. I'm coming to you from Nyeri County, and today I want to talk to people who are on the road every single day, and people who actually drive the vehicles that ferry passengers. And I just want to hear from them what is their take when it comes to road safety, what are some of the challenges they're facing as drivers of public service vehicles, and also at the same time we just get to hear what their opinion is concerning solutions that can actually help to ensure that lives are actually saved. And I start here. Tafadhali nataka uniambie unaitwa nani na unieleze kwa kazi hii labda umeifanya kwa muda gani kwa kifupi tu, na utueleze wewe kwa nini ukiulizwa unaona kumekuwa na ajali nyingi sana barabarani.
Okay, naitwa Jacob Madhege kutoka Nyeri. Mimi ni driver ka miaka 4 hapa. Chenye mimi najua yani magari kudharaulana, madere kudharauliana. Sasa ka anakuja na anaufateki mwenye anakuja anakataa kukanyagia ule. Sasa mimi naona hivyo.
Na labda wewe kwa maoni yako ni nini inaweza fanywa kuhakikisha tuoni accidents kwa barabara sana?
Sorry.
Ni nini tunaweza fanya ndio accident zipungue kwa barabara?
Okay, wenye wana overspeed waache. Kwenye kuna style bumps ziwekwe. Kwenye bumps hazina lagi ziwekwe juu ya madereva wenye ni wageni.
Naam. Haya sawa. Nizungumza, I speak to another one here. Nataka uniambie unaitwa nani na unieleze wewe umefanya kazi hii kwa muda gani, na labda kwa kifupi unieleze wewe kwa maoni yako ajali zinasababishwa na nini?
Kwa jina mimi naitwa Geoffrey Gashomo. Nimefanya kazi ya driver kwa miaka 30 sasa. Na mambo mimi ambayo nimeona mengi ambayo inasababisha accidents. Sana inatokana na barabara zingine ni mbovu sana. Unakuta barabara zingine hazina max hata kidogo. Kwa miaka mingi zimekaa. Kwa hivyo huyu mtu akiwa ni mgeni kwa hiyo barabara, you most likely expect him to do some mischievous, because atakuta barabara iko na bumps na haiko marked, haina signs, haina kichote, unaona. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni jambo moja. Jambo la pili ni watu watengeneza magari, sababu saa nyingine unakuta magari ni usiku na iko na headlights, iko full light na hakuna dim. Huyo mtu na unajua hata kama hana dim light hawezi zima gari, sababu hata yeye ataona giza. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni jambo lingine. Mambo ya magari pelekwe itengenezwe ionekane kama magari ziko sawa. Jambo lingine ni kama vile wanasema ni hivyo, nimekwambia barabara ni mbovu. Wale wanatengeneza barabara wamepewa kazi ya kutengeneza barabara. Saa nyingine wanatengeneza barabara, lakini wakati wanafunga kazi wanasahau kwamba hiyo barabara wanatengeneza inatumika usiku ama inatumika baadaye. Kwa hivyo wanaacha mambo zingine ziko barabara, hata wamechimbua mashimo. Kwa mfano mzuri, enda pale Kutus jia kutoka Samson Kona kuja Kutus Town. Unakuta pande zote mbili za barabara zimechimbwa mtaro kubwa sana. Ukiingia kwa hiyo mtaro lazima hiyo gari utaambingika huko, kwa sababu imeachwa open. Hata haina hata ribbon moja kuonyesha kwamba hiyo barabara inatengenezwa, na ni dangerous kwa yeyote anayepita hapo aone. Hiyo ni mambo zingine. Hiyo ndio ninaona mbali, lakini mambo isikuange sasa ati accident ikitendeka ni makosa tu ya driver. Nakuta mtu ameneja gari miaka mingi, lakini kwa makosa ya mwingine huyo mtu anamkuta amefanya accident. Hiyo sikusema ati huyo mtu ni competent. Huyo mtu ni competent kabisa, lakini kwa vile makosa ilitengana na mtu mwingine, sasa blames wewe usikii mtu mwingine akiblemiwa, unasikia tu driver ndiye anablemiwa kwa sababu ati alifanya accident. Mambo kama hizo siangaliwe. Yeah.
Asante sana. All right, Fred, there you have it from drivers in this particular region saying that some of the things that actually need to be considered include how our roads are made to ensure, and also agencies that are actually tasked with that mandate to ensure that roads are actually also marked. And also he says that it is important that every road user to ensure that their vehicles are in good condition, especially while driving at night, to ensure that they are actually visible and they are also not actually endangering their lives and also the lives of other road users. Back to you in studio from Nyeri County, I'm Martin Munene.
Thank you, Martin. Martin Monene there talking to PSV operators in Nyeri with regard to the ongoing concern of road safety. A number of road accidents we're looking at. One, as I had mentioned, 12 people died on Sunday at around 3 a.m. when the bus they were traveling in from Vihiga collided with a truck along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway somewhere in Naivasha. And I'm still in studio with Nyaga George Kelvin, founder Road Safety Volunteers. This issue of night travel was a big issue, and there was a ban. Now you see another accident happening months after that ban was lifted. Don't you think that probably some of these decisions we make or the government makes are not well thought out, that probably that ban should have stayed longer? Do you think such a ban, night travel by PSVs, can actually reduce the number of accidents?
I don't think so. And last time when they banned the night travel, I think that was around towards the end of last year, around January, after the accident that happened around Sachangwan, Salga. And I was there during the rescue that day, that night when the accident occurred. But I looked at banning the night travel and how much Kenyans suffered. And with the economy we have then, that is not the solution. If you look at this case of Gilgil, for example, which I got a call some minutes before 2 a.m. and somebody told me, you know, there's a bad accident and bodies are all over. And even injured people are on the tarmac. They don't have any help. And I started mobilizing for the ambulances to head there. If you look at the story, people had been complaining about overspeeding of this vehicle.
The passengers.
The passengers. So we also need to know that however much we are blaming the government, we also have a part to play. And the biggest problem and the biggest solution again to road safety in this country is the mwananchi, him or herself. What action are you taking? You are boarding an excess vehicle without a seat, asking for that piece of timber to sit on. A vehicle is being driven recklessly. You are there, you are quiet. Ndimuli, sometimes in 2006, 2007, I was thrown out, or I had to alight from Matatus on 3 different occasions. The reason being, a vehicle is being driven recklessly. And when you get to a roadblock, you tell the police officers, this vehicle is being driven recklessly. And every other passenger turns against you. They are in a hurry. Kenyans are ever late. And that's why we are dying on the road. And we are dying in large numbers. So the police officer asks you, now you are the only one complaining. Every other person is saying the vehicle is being driven well. So how do I charge this driver? Do I even have evidence? So it becomes a big issue.
Kenyans were generally complacent.
Yes.
We prefer the quicker, shorter route, probably heading to work. If I get there faster, the better.
Even in the morning when you're in a Matatu, most of the people, and the Matatu overlaps, and traffic police stops that Matatu. People start taking videos and complaining, you are wasting our time. People do not want to sacrifice and say, let us suffer at this moment, but let there be sanity on the road. So we are the biggest problem.
Yes, a lot can be said about the conduct of the traffic police department, but some time back, President Uhuru Kenyatta ordered the National Transport Safety Authority off the roads. Do you think that was a nice move?
I think it was a nice move at some point. And what they concentrated on was not the right thing. Because they went purely into alcohol, they went mostly into speed checks. And this is also work that is supposed to be done by police. There's a lot, like that driver who has said about road marking. Every time I drive within the highways, I come back and I have to do emails, I have to do letters, I have to make calls because there's that issue of signage. Roads are not being marked. Probably some areas have potholes. And that is the corridor that is serving even other countries where we have new drivers every day. What are the engineers who are supervising those roads doing? Shoddy work being done, bumps that are substandard, and we have engineers who are watching. I'm not an engineer. So if I can be able to detect such a problem, or a driver is able to detect, this is not the way a bump should be done. This place needs a sign. There's no marking. Why do we wait until the signage fades? So NTSA should go back on the road, but not to do enforcement work. Let them do training. Let them facilitate the actors like us. We do not have funding.
The actual work that you're doing, you wish NTSA could do more of that.
Yeah, where roads are not marked, we have issues of signage, we have issues of design. We have a lot that they can do on the road.
Yet issues of speeding which have come up, and including this very recent accident, are some of the biggest causes of road accidents. And NTSA, as you said, really concentrated on that. even as they also concentrated on alcohol. Don't you think that that served a purpose, that probably it reduced the number of accidents caused by speeding and reckless driving when they were on the roads?
I think what should happen, we should make use of technology. The speed governors that are in the market currently, the ones that NTSA approved, have the ability to be monitored from the office. Why can't they set up control rooms? They need to set up control rooms and allocate each circle probably somebody during the day and at night. If a vehicle overspeeds, then there should be an alarm in the office. The circles should also be made or should be subjected to also run the same system. Even before that vehicle causes an accident, somebody should have detected this is a routine, this vehicle overspeeds. You don't just overspeed and you cause an accident.
Do you think these Matatu circles are able to regulate themselves? Because that was the intention. And as you said, they should be able to use technology. But some of this were quickly just hatched up just to make sure that businessmen can still have their vehicles on the road. Do you think we have circles that are able to regulate themselves and are working?
They are there. This year I've been to Mombasa almost 10 times using the buses, different circles, trying to monitor issues of whether drivers are changing when they are en route, probably the way they're supposed to have two drivers, and even how they drive. And I can tell you there are circles that are very well organized. How comes that there are circles that you are able even to book a vehicle online, like you book a plane to Mombasa or to any other country? So if they are regulated, and that is part of what NTSA should follow on. Most of these circles have the capacity, they have a lot of money in Dimuli, but most of them are just like cartels. They just concentrate on a vehicle is here, probably after it ferries passengers, you are leaving 500 or 1,000 to the circle, and somebody doesn't care. These complaints again goes to the same circles. I'm sure when these buses or these vehicles get to the destination, there are 1 or 2 people who go to complain. What is done? In some cases, you are even insulted in a Matatu. You go to report to the so-called supervisor, and the person is even worse than the driver. So we need sanity in that industry. We need to have people who are professionals, not somebody who was probably a makanga, didn't go to a school. Then the next minute is running the circle. Some of them do not even understand Twitter or even Facebook or even other social media platforms. So what happens when people complain? Nowadays we've gone digital. So we need to have people working in those circles, people who are professional, people who can be able to manage the hotlines. Some of the circles today, you call the numbers and they no longer work. They realize there are so many complaints that are coming and they just switched off the phones. Others you call and lines have even been replaced. Somebody tells you, I don't even know what you are talking about. So they need also to take responsibility, and because they are earning from that circle, let them manage them professionally, and things are going to change.
As your final comments, Nyaga, what do you think could be the singular thing that probably the government or the president can do to actually ensure that accidents in the number of road accidents actually comes to probably a very reasonable number? Because yes, we do agree, road accidents will happen at some point, but just a reasonable number. What is a singular thing that the government or the president should do?
Engage the right people who are passionate about road safety. That is one of the problems that we have.
Are you the kind of person you're describing?
I would say I'm one of them, and engagement can be in so many ways. I don't have to be the Director General of maybe NTSA. I don't have to be the CS or any other thing. But if the relevant authorities engage people like us, we don't even need to be paid. We can advise. I've been on the road for the last 8 years. Very few times I've seen NTSA call me for a meeting and even ask me, Nyaga, what is your view on this? And there are others like me on the road.
You said NTSA has been very receptive to the kind of input you have.
Yes, they have been in terms of when we engage them, when we tell them there's a problem here, they move in.
Okay.
What about themselves calling us, the stakeholders?
They are not as proactive.
Yes, and asking us what is the solution to this. Most of the times, probably they just go in the boardroom and just make decisions and announce them. But some of them were new. NTSA was formed even after I was on the road. So some of them were new, they didn't have much experience. So let them engage people who are experienced. They can go back on the road, but to do something different, to regulate the circles, probably to monitor what is happening on the road, especially the issues of PSV and the issues of commercial vehicles. They can do awareness. Let them do those trainings. Let them leave police to do the police work, so that by the end of the day we know whom do we blame for what.
Okay, but over the last 8 years, because you say you've done it for the last 8 years, have you noticed an improvement? Or are we getting worse?
A lot. Again, when we are measuring, we also need to look at parameters in Dimuli. How many vehicles are bought every day? How are the accident statistics? Mostly our statistics range around 3,000. We've not gone
That's
above,
the number of deaths?
Yes, 3,000 fatalities. And if you look at the last 8 years or the last 5 years, what is the increase in terms of vehicles, in terms of motorbikes, in terms of pedestrians? So I also listen to people, and people have made confessions, you know, after the training you did, after the experience talk you did, after the road show, we were able to change our attitude. But then the capacity is the problem. We can do more, and the other organizations that can do more, given the funding and the right support.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nyaga George Calvin, founder Road Safety Volunteers. It's a community-based organization that handles issues to do with road safety, and they do an array of very many different things.